Hey guys, it's Masatonic. I'm bilingual Harukist. 皆さん、こんにちは。バイリンガルハルキストのマサトニックです。Haruki Murakami book title Essay. What we talk about when we talk about translation. So in this book, I'd like to talk about translation book. But unfortunately, this book is not translated from Japanese to English so far, at least. But it's very interesting book, so I really excited to talk about it. So it's if you can't read the Japanese book, it's very hard to get this original book Japanese text and read and enjoy it. But I hope this video might interest you, and if you can read a Japanese book, it's very interesting essay about translation. So it's very interesting one. So let's get started. So here's an overview of this book. This book contains a series of essay and a dialogue about translation. And as you can see, it's not Murakami himself, and also he had a dialogue with Motoyuki Shibata. He's also translator and ex-Tokyo University professor. And Murakami and Shibata is a kind of very old friends from maybe, I don't know, 30 to 40 years long. When Murakami had started to translate from American literature to the Japanese sentences, at first, Shibata is a kind of a how to say, teacher or a guide person or a supervisor of his Murakami's translation. And since then, they are both kind of very close. When Murakami did a translation work, Shibata would check it. And yeah, something like that. Their relationship keep on going. And sometimes they talk about translation in some magazines essay and some of the how to say end of the book dialogue about the translation. So there's a lot of how to say essay or kind of sentences are there. So and then compiled it in one book. That is this book. And this one, originally, it was published as soft cover in May 2019. And recently, in June 2021, with additional dialogue, it was published as paperback. Even in Japan, there's two type of book. One is soft cover, and two is a paperback version. So in Japan, we call it soft cover is tankobon, and also paperback is bunkobon. And original content is the same, but this addition is not just a few, it's kind of very large. Originally, this was contained about 7 essays, but this additional essay is also 7. So in a way, it's doubled. And the order of each essay is slightly arranged and changed from the first one to this next one. And the essay or dialogue itself is same, but the title is slightly changed from old version to new version. So in a way, we could say this is basically a different book. So and also this paperback includes everything which is included in soft cover version. So now, if you're interested in this book, maybe here's a choice. You can take paperback. But how to say, book design is different, and how to say, book style, soft cover and paperback different. So if you are really huge fan of Murakami like me, in that case, soft cover also would be an option you'd find. But anyway, now you can get the Japanese paperback version. It's really, it's not, it's kind of cost efficient. It's about 800 Japanese yen. Of course, it's available in Amazon online, but only show.jp. I don't think it's available in .com or any other Amazon account. But anyway, maybe you can get from Japanese Amazon. And when I talk about this book, I should refer about this one, Murakami Shibata Honyakuto series. This is a series book, a paperback reprint of once out of print literature. So in Japan, there's a paperback market is so huge and has quite a long history. There are so many translated versions once published and then out of print. So it's super difficult to get to an older book, very, rare version. But so maybe you could find some old bookstore or Amazon, but it could be too expensive price would be they put. But Murakami and Shibata thinks during that out of print literature, some of it is very interesting and worth keep on publishing. So they did choose about 10 books and they reprint and republished as a new paperback literature. So that is Murakami Shibata Honyakuto. And actually some of them are newly translated by themselves, I mean Murakami and Shibata as well. And so here's a list of Murakami Shibata Honyakuto, and here's an English original title, and here's a Japanese version, translated title, and author's name. So like these, about 10 books are selected, and majority of them are just reprint of the original translated edition, but with new cover and additional Murakami and Shibata's dialogue in it. And this bold one, this 4 book is newly translated by Murakami, such as The Member of the Wedding, written by Carson McCullers, and also the Star Cuckoo by John Nichols is Murakami newly translated. And My Name is Aram by William Saroyan, and Days of the Locust, a Cool Medium, written by Nathaniel West, were translated by Shibata. And other things is a reprinted version, but with additional dialogue with Murakami and Shibata. So like the Great American Novel, The Wizard's Arm, Space Vampires, Chinaman, Deliverance, Alibi Ike. So some of them you might know, but some of kind, at least to me as a Japanese reader, it's so rare and never heard of them is included at the time. But at least I read through everything, and to me, maybe the Carson McCullers, The Member of Wedding, and also The Wizard by Thomas Hardy, and the Space Vampires, Colin Wilson is kind of, I really like it. So, but it's a really nice one with a very, nice, good design with new cover, new jacket. So it's very interesting series. And then, like I said, basically every books, every paperback has a dialogue between Murakami and Shibata with added. So there each dialogue essay has included this one. What we talk about when we talk about translation in Japanese title, 本当の翻訳の話をしよう. Let's talk about real translation story. That's much more direct translation, by the way. And like I explained, it's included about 10 essays of translations. So among them, I'd like to introduce 3 my favorite essay from it. First is translation lecture, and this is a book of the translator Murakami and Shibata himself. So they do a lot of translation work, basically American and English literature. So among them, they choose 3 titles: Raymond Chandler, Playbook, Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby, and Truman Capote, The Headless Hawk, they choose, and the kind of very beginning of it, and or some very a famous scene they choose, and translated same part by themselves. So even though with the same original text, their translation is slightly different because how to say the writing style is different, and also how selecting a Japanese words are different. And really interesting thing. Sometimes in Japanese, they how to say singular person. Sorry, forget about how to call it. But anyway, I is not just the I. How the I translation is so many variety of way to put it. Watashi, boku, ore, atashi, so blah blah blah. So on which word choose is this very how to say diversity of the nuance. It's very wide range of nuance, because boku and watashi is a totally different atmosphere with Japanese in it. So, and then how translate the interpret of each booked character. So that's slightly different. That's very interesting. And very interesting is the these three books is Murakami himself translated and published. So in a way, the reader like me can get familiar with the Murakami's translation, especially the feature, The Great Gatsby. It's great. It's a really nice one. And Murakami's thinks The Great Gatsby is to him one of his best literature in all time. So his translation is kind of really with very much passion about it. So that, and how they translate, how they interpret their dialogue is really, really interesting. And also next one, the Japanese translation history by Shibata. Like I said, Shibata is an ex-Tokyo University professor. So his lecture is kind of, how to say, very first grade one. And that's really interesting. In Japan, there's a kind of a long history of translation, and but limited to the English translation and also publication. Basically, it's about 150 years history, because almost the end of Edo period or a beginning of Meiji period start to accept English literature and published into Japanese. And one of our very earlier stage of Japanese translation history is Shakespeare. Is of course it's translated by some of how to say literature person, and but the style is very, very difficult at that time. How to say, it's not a fixed Japanese translation style, and that guy, the very far in the beginning period of the Japanese translation history, one of the translator is a Tsubouchi Shoyo, or Shoyo Tsubouchi. He's a kind of writer as well. He had written his own work, but he did a translation of Shakespeare. But style is very interesting. He did use a jōruri style. Jōruri is a kind of Japanese play. So as a Japanese person, he had very well known or get used to Japanese style play, jōruri. And so Shakespeare is also an English play. So in a way, he kind of interpret the English play is something like a Japanese play. So he used this jōruri style, and which means he put a lot of additional information in the Shakespeare's original sentence. Say it's like in this book, Shibata explained with the material of the Julius Caesar, the first thing of Julius Caesar, And in original text, just 2 to 3 sentences or 2 to 3 lines. In Japanese style, almost 1 page is long. And it's really like a Japanese, old style Japanese as well. So to us, such contemporary Japanese reader, some part is very hard to read, even as Japanese reader. But anyway, it's very interesting way. And then even same person, Tsubochi Shoyo, about 10 years since his first translation of this jewelry style, slightly changed the translating style. It's much more, I'd say, ordinary words, but still it's a kind of old Japanese style. So, and that how to say, the transition is very interesting. And also another thing I think it's very interesting is similarity between Murakami and Futabate Shimei. Futabate Shimei is a kind of old Japanese how to say, novelist. And the interesting thing is Shibata point out their similarity. Both of them at first, in order to found their own writing style, the two of us used a foreign language before in order to set up their own writing style. In Murakami's case, it's quite famous. I talk about in my video earlier. Murakami, when I started his first novel, Here's the Wind Sing, at first he started to write his sentences in English. And after that, from English to Japanese, he translated by himself. And during that process, he found and he invented his own style, Murakami's writing style. And likewise, Futabate Shimei doing kind of same thing. And in his case, not English, but Russian. He's very good at Russian. So but very interesting things. Murakami is, that process is before publishing. So when published version is basically, how to say, Murakami style is, or it's just a beginning style, but basically already completed. But in Futabate Shimei, it's really interesting. In some work, he published separately in maybe some magazine or newspaper. So one quite a long novel, very first things, very much old Japanese style that gradually changed his style. And when he did a translation, a Russian translation, he found his own style. So in the middle of the novel, he almost found his own style, and it's very much closer to the modern Japanese sentences. So even though one work, his way of writing, his writing style is very, how to say, different. That is very interesting. It's maybe you can tell when you think about the comic case, like a Dragon Ball or even the One Piece, their, how to say, first volumes, their how to say, drawing style is kind of very primitive. But gradually the, how to say, drawing skill is improving. So their drawing style slightly or sometimes dramatically changed from the very first stage of the volume of the story, like volume 1, and after, say, volume 20, volume 40, volume 50. Even One Piece case, it's about 100 volume will be published. So dramatically, its style changed. So like this, Futabate Shimei's writings, translating style is already changed. That is really, really interesting point Shibata pointed out. So that kind of very interesting story you can get from this book. And also, this is a lot of Murakami and Shibata referred about so many literature, basically American and English literature. So this book could a very good book guide or lead to Shiba literature. So it's a really nice way to get to know new book. And some of it, unfortunately, is very difficult to get because it's quite old, but still, even in the available books, there are plenty opportunities or options you can get. So in a way, it's really, really interesting book. So, but like I said, unfortunately, this one is not translated and published in the English market. But if you're interested in, I hope you do. And please get a book, even Japanese one, and please take a look. And it's really, really interesting. Right, that's all for me. So thank you for watching my video. I hope this video was interesting and it'd be an opportunity to get and read and enjoy Murakami's very interesting book. Okay, so thank you for watching again, and I would appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and give me a great good rate. All right, that's it. Let's see you next video. Until then, see you. Bye.